I'm Amy, sex educator, somatic sex and relationship coach, and sex shop owner.
And I'm April, VP of an international high-end pleasure products company and boss queen sex toy mogul. We're best friends who make our own rules about who we are as sexual beings.
With everything from how to be a badass in the bedroom to top tips for bringing your relationship to the next level, we have something just for you.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps at purepleasureshop.com. Hello, everyone.
Yo, 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 everybody.
Party in April's house.
I'm the MC. What? Party in my kitchen.
Party? Yeah, we're recording live from April's kitchen today.
It's freezing cold.
It's freezing cold. Yeah, it's pretty cold. Did you see that random rain that just passed through?
It's been randomly raining a lot in Santa Cruz.
Super rain. Well, yeah, we could use more than random.
Right, but just a sprinkle.
Just a little sprinkle. So today is just a podcast with lovely April and myself. Yay! Aren't you all excited? And we're not just going to talk about ourselves the whole time. We have plenty to share. The topic for today is sexual mastery, penises, cocks, dicks.
This
This applies to whether you own a dick, whether you admire a dick. There will be some information here for you. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But before we do, first off, we should read some more reviews.
Review of the week.
We have a review of the week request to read for April to read in German.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for this?
Wait, first of all, though, thank you for writing us reviews. We have 5 stars, and we appreciate everybody writing us reviews. So if you can take a moment out of your busy day and write us a review on iTunes, that would be lovely.
And we'll read it. And if you request, just like this person called Vegan Rocker did, and if you request the exact accent, April will make an attempt.
Yes, I'm pretty good at
It's a long
accents,
one, though.
But it is a long one. Thank you, Vegan Rocker. All right. Let me get my German on.
She spent a lot of time in Germany.
I did. I used to work for Fun Factory, a German company.
Perfect.
Oh, man. Yeah. I only found the Shameless Sex podcast a month ago. But to catch up, this is not going well. How about I just do parts of it in German, Vegan Rocker?
It's really long.
Okay, I'll do some of it in German, yeah. I found the Shameless Sex podcast a month ago or so, but to catch up, I've constantly got April and Amy's voice chatting in my ear, or one of their great and informative guests. Listening to the podcast is a great way of getting simple and fun info on sex, especially on the go. I find myself wanting to send every episode to 5 different friends because they all have such great and helpful facts, theories, or tips. I also love listening to them with my partner, a great way to bring up topics in a non-confrontational way. Okay, German, here we go. I'm also in the beginning stages of starting up a sex info blog, and listening has also given me loads of resources and motivation that shameless sex forever. Yeah. If reading in German accent, please. How was that?
That was great.
Thank you, Vegan Rocker. And I'm sorry my German wasn't as good in the beginning. I needed to warm that one up, but I can try it again later.
That was good. That was good. That was pretty awesome for just diving right in.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
I also want to share one other thing. So we have a survey on our website. If you're a regular listener, we have a survey to find out who you are. You can go to our website and go to the bottom of the homepage and find out. But someone put a comment on there in what could we do better? I love this comment. It says, when stuff gets conceptually close to healing with crystals, I tune out. I love it. But others may like it. No shame. You girls do you. I just love that because, you're being real. Awesome.
Yeah.
And we try to be conscientious of that because we understand there's, using a lot of woo language doesn't really speak to more of the heady logical thinker. They're a little bit like, all right, lay off the crystals. And then the crystal folks, they don't want just heady woo. They want some woo. So try to be in the middle.
See, I'm a scientific brainiac. I don't know.
She's
if I'm
a brainiac, everyone.
But I'm a scientific human that digs crystals and energy.
Yeah.
But I understand when people are like, I don't know. I wear a crystal quartz on my finger on a regular that's like cleansed and blah,
This person
blah,
just
blah.
tuned out.
I know. No, but I've literally watched it neutralize a situation before.
Yeah.
So
I believe okay. This is all we're going to say about it, and then we're going to leave this conversation. But I was listening to another podcast on, actually tangentially speaking, Dr. Bruce Damer was on there, who's works for NASA, and he was talking about the origin of life and coming from aminos on meteors, and there's some gems and crystals that are actually tied into the ways the origins of life work, I believe. So I'm just going to leave it at that they aren't just things that are there for me to put close to my heart and feel the love. Like they actually could have played a role in the contribution to something greater. But I actually don't know enough information. I was listening to that.
and I think this person's into hot stone massages.
Oh,
that could work.
that could definitely
Just
work.
make the crystals hot and put them on your body, and then boom.
Maybe under diak.
Yeah.
I don't know if this person was had a dick. So.
Have you had any good sex lately?
Yes, but I want to bring that into this conversation because this is what we're going to do. We're going to go into sexual mastery, cocks, penises, DX, and then we'll do some sex questions at the end. How do you feel about that?
We have a lot of sex questions. And by the way, thank you to everyone writing us in on a regular. We appreciate it. And we will get to your sex question either by writing to you or by answering your question on the air. We're working on it.
We also appreciate when people send us emails to let us know that they're having technological issues with our podcast. Someone just told us that the anal sex episode 10 was not working, and I checked and it was totally not working. So if you ever see anything like that, let us know because that helps us.
Can I make an announcement?
Yeah. What you got?
So today officially marks the day that Hot Octopus launched their 2 rechargeable vibrating cock rings.
What are their names?
Atom and Atom Plus. And they literally, I have a drawer full of cock rings from over the years of being in the industry. These 2 cock rings are the most powerful ones on the market. It's been changing my sex life because I actually need the grinding and the clitoral stim. And these are amazing. If you want to get some, they're just shipping now this week. And when this airs, it'll be last week. But they're shipping, it's like February 21st. They're shipping. So I'm not trying to do a guilty pitch here, a sales pitch, but they really are awesome. And
where can people get them?
You can go to hotoctopus.com. You can use Shameless Sex for 20% off.
All caps, lowercase?
I think you can just do lowercase.
Cool.
I think it's just all one word, Shameless Sex, because 20% off. And it's only $99 for this double motored toy, and then $85 for the single motored. So you get 20% off of that. But I don't know. If you want, we can put a link somewhere on our website, or you can get them at Pure Pleasure when they ship to you as well. But they are amazing, and we're really proud. And we did tons of research and development, and I couldn't be more excited about these products.
Cool.
So check them out.
Yeah, I need one.
I'll get you one.
We have them at Pure Pleasure too, right?
Well, they haven't shipped.
Oh, because those are the first generation. The ones. What cock rings do we have there? Oh no, we don't have those cock rings. Okay, you're right. Okay.
We don't. This is our first ever cock ring.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, but
awesome.
I will say that
Exciting.
they will change a sex life, no matter if you're rocking a penis or a vulva and a penis owning couple, whatever you are, they will benefit you. Penis on penis.
I think that's a great penis on penis. Hey.
Penis on penis.
It's like my dream. So that's a great segue.
Penis on penis with glasses.
Ooh, I like, yeah. My current partner does not wear glasses, but I have always had a thing for men in glasses.
Get him some fake ones.
I mean, he's pretty beautiful enough, but there's something about it when I've been single and you have like an attractive man, but you next to another attractive man with glasses, I would be like the guy with glasses. Which is
you like the thick frames too.
Well, to me, my brain says they must be smart, which is like so not necessarily true. We don't really know.
My partner wears glasses, and I have this thing where my nose protrudes just the right amount, where I smudge him up all the day.
You poke it?
Yeah, and he's always like, he calls me Smudgy for my nickname.
That's cute.
He's like, "What's up, Smudgy? You just smudge me up." I'm like, "Give it to me, I clean him."
Well, smudging is also when you take sage and you smudge someone with the sage. So it's kind of like blessing someone. You're cleansing someone.
I'm cleansing him with my nose grease.
Little smudgy McBiggles.
Yeah,
so cute. So sexual mastery, cocks, DX, penises. So with what April just said, I want to talk about that first. Let's talk about that. Grinding, what you're talking about. So the sexual mastery, when we did our poll to people, we asked what what topics you all wanted to hear the most. Sexual mastery got number one. Everyone was like, that was number one. People, how to be a great lover. So this is going to be very much geared towards that, of how to be a great lover, whether you're pleasing the cock or you have a cock.
I also think that that's a developmental skill you can always improve, no matter if you probably are a great lover, but
there's always room to learn more.
There's always room.
We're always changing, right? Like as we change, our hormones change, our relationship changes.
Right.
The
seasons change. You're like, I'm cozy. I want to fuck with socks on.
I want my sweatpants.
Actually, that's kind of hot. I've been watching porn lately where they wear their clothes and just zip out the dick.
I like that. Not sweatpants with a hole in the crotch.
Just put a sheet on and cut a hole in it.
That's not going to work for me. Oh, God. We're totally not doing that. Okay. So grinding. And so what April just said with the cock rings, the hot octopus, the atom cock rings, how she likes grinding. And so right now I'm going to speak to cocks and pussies in combination, and I'm not going to say that all cocks play with pussies, but in what I'm talking about right now is when cocks play with pussies. And actually not just pussies, because this would also apply to some trans folks too. Mm-hmm. And so playing with, because we just did our last podcast with Allison Moon, and she said the same things that apply to playing with a soft cock are similar to playing with a trans person. So which is a trans man. Is that what she said?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So grinding.
Little bit of bump and grind.
Pussies. So in porn, they like to show a lot of thrusting, a lot of
pounding.
In, out. Yeah, pounding, in, out. A lot of foreplay. And I don't even really necessarily like that word because it assumes that that's like
what word don't you like?
Foreplay. It almost feels like it's taking away from what should naturally be happening. It's a side event or something. Like you can add foreplay or you don't have to. And I feel like foreplay, for the most part, especially when it comes to pussies, needs to be a part of it for the bodies to get like really warmed up and excited.
Well, why don't you like the word foreplay?
Maybe it's not the word. It's not the word. Oh. It's the concept
behind.
Exactly.
It's like a loaded concept to you. Foreplay.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, foreplay. My partner needs so much foreplay. I'm not really that into foreplay. And instead, we're like, no, it's not foreplay. It's warm up so that they can be prepared. Like it's not just this added bonus that's like great sometimes. It's like almost very, very necessary, especially.
I need it.
Me too.
I can't just go straight into it at all, ever.
Yeah. No, definitely not. And when you go straight into it, a lot of hard, fast thrusting. No, first of all, your body's not prepared for it. Second of all, a lot of hard, fast thrusting does not get all of the parts in your body that want to be touched. And we've talked in past episodes about how to please the pussy, so you can look up that episode and listen to more about that. But grinding, you want to up your sexual mastery as a cock owner who plays with vulvas. Do more grinding as opposed to thrusting, especially for the first 5 to 10 minutes. That feels absolutely amazing. More of like a grinding exercise. It's almost like the genitals are like kind of just rubbing against each other.
Well, I prefer this all the time. And we've talked about this before because I had to actually negotiate with my partner. He loves the pumping. I love the grinding. So I'm like, we got a 50-50 this or 80-20, depending on who's, who came.
You end with the pump. Start with the grind.
Yeah.
And probably more of the grind because the recipient really needs, because they're the one receiving, you're the receiving the penetration. It's really important to consider what their body needs. And so we live in this very penis-centric culture that forgets that.
Which if you're a vulva owner that loves grinding on your penis-owning partner, literally the cock rings, it's just a shaft ring. People think about cock rings, I just want to say, because I brought this up earlier, as a device that can help with blood flow. And they're like, what does it do? I'm scared of that. It seems like really advanced. But like the Atom, that one, the Atom Ana Plus, you can actually just wear the Atom, the regular one, as a shaft ring. So what I do with my partner, he wears it on his shaft. We don't incorporate the balls at all. And it has this little nub that basically hits my clit as I'm grinding. So I get tons of vibration, like intensity, and it gives me texture. It's designed with the vulva in mind. And it's never, ever been more exciting to grind on a partner for me.
Yeah.
Since this. So that's actually is a great point. And that's perfect that we're launching this product today as we're talking about this episode.
Grinding.
The universe just provided us all of this, right?
It's just meant to be divine crystals and gems and shit.
Oh,
it must be the crystal you're wearing in April. So on that note, I want to also comment on soft cocks then. Because
Cocks that can never get hard or cocks that...
both. Whether
Okay.
they can't ever get hard or it's hard for them to get hard, they get hard sometimes. That's confusing. Challenging to get hard, which often happens with age, but can happen due to medication, diabetes, stress. Yeah.
Stress is a killer for any age group person. You could be 18-year-old and have soft cock situations because of your stress level and whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And a lot of times when people are having erectile issues, it's often related to just a story in their head or related to trauma, shame, the telling themselves, I'm not going to get hard, I'm not going to be able to stay
and
hard.
then you keep thinking about that, and then it just perpetuates the situation.
Yeah. Psych out. So there's that heart component. But what I really wanted to talk about was, because a lot of times when people are dealing with soft cocks, they think that they're screwed. There's nothing that they can do to pleasure. Well, no, they're not screwed.
Right.
Because really they feel like they're inadequate. They can't do anything. And in fact, with what April was talking about, how much she likes grinding, the reason why she likes grinding is because the sensation is stimulating your external vulva. Right. So it's all the clitoris, the labia. So if you had a soft cock and you actually just took your sock without even inserting it, or just inserting the soft, you can even just hold the tip inside or a little bit if you're dealing with a vulva, and just do grinding, that could feel so amazing. Like there's, just because a cock is soft doesn't mean you don't get to play. There's so many options on the table for you. Maybe hard penetration is on the table, but there's devices made for that, like the spare parts Deuce harness. It's it's Deuce, DEUCE. It's a harness that on the there's two holes. The top hole's for the dildo, so you wear a hard dildo, and the bottom hole's for your own homegrown cock to hang out. And so your own cock can have stimulation, and then you can actually penetrate with a hard dildo.
Or if you want to go back to back, session after session after session, you could rock that thing.
Or you double penetration.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, well, you have to be hard in the cock. But
one of the pink.
Yeah.
One of the stank.
Yeah. Shocker. We're actually not condoning the shocker. No, I'm just kidding. You can do whatever you want.
Why not?
I don't know.
I condone the shit out of the shocker.
Do you like the shocker?
Yeah, and the spocker. Actually, the spocker is where I go. The spocker is 2 in the pink, 2 in the stink.
You do that?
I don't do it. I get that done to me.
So this is
I've never done it to anyone.
This is what I'd like to say about that. I feel like
we shouldn't call it the spocker.
No, I feel like when some fingers go into the pussy and then some other fingers go in the ass, they're both getting kind of half-ass stimulation, where it'd be a lot more efficient. Like, it just kind of feels like it's just, that's a lot of intensity. But it feels like if they have just the focus on my pussy, they would like really refine the touch, or on my ass. It feels like it's cutting corners. I just get
super turned on and I'm like, put it in every hole.
Well, that's hot.
See, so that's what happens.
You have something in your mouth
when I get the spocker. Yeah. What?
You have something in your mouth at the same time? Cock in your mouth? Shocker in everything
No,
else?
there hasn't been a cock in the mouth. I think I'm just like...
What about the ears, the nose?
No. So I guess... it's just a fantasy of mine to have every hole filled, but I get there with the spocker.
All right. So that was soft cocks.
Do you know what the showstopper is?
What's that?
3 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
That would just stop my show. And the podcast is over. All right. Next, we're moving on. Ejaculatory control. So this is another one of those things where people are often in their heads. This is related to the stories, meaning if someone has a hard time controlling their ejaculate. At one point, it may have been challenging to do. They ejaculated too early. We are not fans of using the term premature ejaculation because it's like, premature for whom, I guess. And so it's all contextual.
It's relative.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Subjective, if you will.
Yeah. It just depends on, is it premature because you think that you came what you would call it too early, that you were a failure, or does your partner or partners think that same thing, or is it just what society says sex should be? Because I think if you look at if you look at the wine got me. If you look at the statistics for the average length of sexual for penetration, like how long people are actually having sex, I think it's talking about penis and vagina sex. It's not very long. It's only a matter of a couple minutes. And so if you're one of those people, you're actually
in the gay community as well.
Same numbers.
That's why they use a lot of desensitizing devices with Novocaine.
Or cock rings can help with that.
Cock rings can help as well, but
or condoms.
Yeah,
condoms are really helpful.
I've never been a shaming person when my partner ejaculates quickly, if you will, in my eyes. Which, but I always look at them and I say, "Hey, my turn.
Yeah.
You just chill." Just talk dirty to me in my ear.
Yeah, or use your fingers or your mouth.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing is they feel like once the cock is off the table because it's ejaculated and now they're in the refractory period where they can't get hard again, or maybe they can, but it's not as hard. Maybe they're tired. You still have fingers in a mouth, and you can use those to pleasure all kinds of orifices.
Just re-up, go hop in, to splash some cold water on your face to wake up.
I got this.
And go back in there and get to it. Or if you are over your sexual experience, your encounter for the evening, but your partner is still needing or wanting more, bust out a toy.
Sex toys, yeah. I don't know what you use a sex toy on you. But I would like to just explore so that was exploring the idea of questioning what is coming too soon already. Some ways to work with ejaculatory control. There's a couple different ways. And we've talked about in past podcasts a little bit, but one way I want to talk about is changing your masturbation practices. And we actually got some feedback from someone in an email that we had given some advice to someone that was having some ejaculatory stuff. And we didn't talk about this. And so I think it's important to talk about. So thank you, whoever you are that sent that to us to remind us to include this, because I would like everyone to know, April, I would like you to know this. April, who started masturbating at age 6 what'd you masturbate? Barry, the bear.
Good old Barry, not next door neighbor Barry, believe it. No. It was my bear.
Is there a Barry next door?
No, but just in case people are like, what? Who's Barry?
Oh, no.
Because it sounds like
Barry's not a human. It's a stuffed animal.
Stuffed animal.
So the way we first started touching ourselves when we were younger very much determines and reflects the way we pleasure ourselves and have orgasms as adults. So if you were younger, say you were a penis owner and you started masturbating, but you were worried about mom or dad walking in the room and you had to masturbate fast and hard, and when you orgasm, you had to orgasm really quietly, because they could walk in the room at any moment, that often carries on into your adult life. And it's not a permanent fixture in your adult life, but it is something that if you do decide you want to shift it, whether it's to learn to get off to slow and soft, to learn to orgasm loudly, you just start to practice those things. And the way you practice them is by masturbating. So you can undo that, and you don't have to. There's no shame in that. If you like quiet orgasms, awesome. I personally think the louder you are, the more.
I do too, but I was conditioned to be quiet as well.
How are they now? What are you doing?
I actually have to tap in and get more vocal often. I think about it. I'm like, why am I being so quiet? But when I'm masturbating solo, independently, there's no one at home. I am super quiet.
You're still quiet.
I am.
Interesting.
It's weird.
So
is it weird?
That's not. Of course, it's not weird.
Why wouldn't I just scream?
Because you have conditioning that told you that you need to be quiet. You don't want to be too much.
I've never really been vocal when I'm alone. When I'm with a partner, I'm more vocal. I don't think I clicked off my microphone.
Oh, I have heard you had sex before.
You have?
Yeah, I think maybe 3 times, maybe a couple times.
I've never heard you.
It was when you were married.
Oh.
Yeah, with your husband. I'd like to conclude that. Yeah, it was your husband.
Just to clarify.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about noise,
right? Being
vocal. So that often does, like you just said, being quiet when you were younger, so you don't want to get in trouble or get caught or be too much, or this can happen. Like you start masturbating in the college dorms, but you can't have someone hear you, so you have to do it quiet. And being vocal is really, really helpful to move energy through our bodies. Like if I'm gonna have an orgasm, like, I just came, that's it. I could probably have like a cool orgasm, but it probably wouldn't be like vibrating through my whole body. And we have a long nerve system that connects from our throat to our pelvic floor. It's the longest nerve system. It's called the vagus nerve. And it literally connects from our genitals to our throat. So when we sound during orgasm, it actually vibrates that energy all through our bodies. This isn't just gems and crystals, people. This is like a real scientific thing.
Is that why the ears feel so good when you have somebody? Are they related to the vagus nerve? Because
not everyone likes ears.
I know, but I'm just trying to connect the dots because for me, my ears are super sensitive and it does shoot all the way through my body.
Me too.
And I'm like, yeah, it's like really enjoyable.
It's like one of my favorite parts of my body.
Me too. It almost feels like I get like giddy like a little kid. I'm like,
yeah,
stop it. No, keep going.
I know.
Stop it.
I remember when I first discovered ears, I was in high school. I think I was like 17 or so. And I discovered it and like it was like orgasmic. I wasn't like my muscles weren't contraction, but like not that kind of orgasm, but my whole body was shuddering. It was amazing.
Right.
And I wanted to spread the good word, like putting my lips on my tongue on people's ears, and half of them were really into it and half of them were like, I don't like
the tongue. I just like the breath.
It's a light tongue.
I just do the like breath.
Yeah.
No, I like the breath.
Just breath. You know what? So for an ear technique that I like, just some breath, maybe some light lips. But if you just lightly, no, you're not gonna I hate when people take their tongue and like dig it around because that feels like they're trying to clean my ears.
That's like a free ear cleaning.
Yes, no thank you.
Can you do that?
But if you just, no thanks. But if you just take the tongue, you kind of dab it into the ear and out, like for, dab it in for a second, pull it out, and then you suck. You pull the air out. It gets this like wet cooling effect. Really hot. Really into it. Again, someone has to like ear stuff. Want me to try it on you right now, Chip?
I'm partly deaf in my right ear.
That's
from an 11-year-old accident.
No wonder you can't hear me when I'm yelling at you.
Yeah, that's why I talk really loud as well. I speak loudly because of an accident in
What's
ear.
my excuse?
You don't speak that loudly.
I project my voice.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, totally. Tangent. Anyways, so.
But yes, please. I would like you to do that.
Okay.
Come on over.
Well, you're too far away. Okay. I changed my mind. Okay. So anyways, that was ears. Back to ejaculatory control though. So masturbation practices and the ways we first started touching ourselves. So the ways to learn this is to start practicing on your own. You can start doing these things with your partner. So say, like we were saying for the sounding, like April will use you an example. You're a quiet masturbator, and you're quiet when you have sex. So you would make it a point to, whenever you masturbate, to start being vocal when you have an orgasm, which means you're going to get a little heady right before, like in your head, right before you have an orgasm. So it might take a little bit for you to really drop into it. But once you start practicing and playing with it, then it could become natural for you, and a default, and your orgasms might be more powerful because of that. So this is an example.
I will say, sorry to interrupt you. When I watch porn, I need more vocal porn for me.
You want that silence?
No, I'm always like, this is awkward, and then I switch it up. But and I like when the dudes, and I think I've talked about this, when the men featured in the film are more vocal.
It's hot. It's attractive. So there's another thing in sexual mastery. If you're the person that wants to up your game, being vocal actually could be more attractive to your partner. Can show more confidence.
Use some dirty talk.
Yeah, but you can do dirty talk with just sounds.
How do you like this cock up
now
in
do
there?
it in German accent.
How do you like this cock in there? Yeah. You like this cock? You got a big cock.
See, now she's really dropped in.
I put it up in that pussy, yeah. Or that butt, yeah. You like this? Yeah.
This?
Yeah.
Like this or like this?
Like that.
Like that.
Like this and like that and like this and all.
Oh, God. All right.
Sorry.
So this is the other thing. I will tangent. Our tangent is that in our feedback from people, like half of you were like, too many tangents, and a couple of you, well, okay, more than half. A lot of you did said too many tangents. A couple of you were like, I love your tangents. I learned so much in your tangents, and they're so funny.
But just to be clear, this is just you and I having a conversation. This is unscripted. So for those of you who don't like tangents, Amy and I are literally catching up with each other and talking about the subject. So it's pretty similar to a regular conversation that we would have.
I literally came over here and told her, this is what we're talking about. And
I'm like,
said,
okay. But I don't know if I know a lot about that.
Oh, she knows
like
a lot
that.
about that.
She like, yeah, you do.
She knows all kinds of things.
Just be fine.
Okay, so back to ejaculatory control. Ejaculatory control. Okay. So we talked about the vocalizing. Now let's talk about the ejaculatory control part for the cock. So you have a cock. You come pretty quickly and you're not that happy about it. First of all, if you come quickly and you're okay with it, then that's okay. That's fine.
And perhaps if your partner is shaming you a bit about it, you should have a conversation with them.
Yeah, because it's not cool to shame people for that. It's not cool. Your partner actually has the ability to develop skills to support you in it. They can say, if you're a partner, okay, we can talk about that sexual mastery on the other side. Say you have a partner that is coming really quickly and you would like to have longer periods of sexual activity. One thing you can do is to start to coach them to slow down. So start when they're actually having sex, instead of breathing really fast and moving really fast, have them start to slow down and say, hey, will you breathe with me? And start to model a really slow, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and have them join you.
And this could be a really exciting way to connect with your partner.
Yeah,
and
align your
if
breath.
they tend to, right. And if they tend to still ejaculate faster than you would like from a partner perspective, work with them, use it as like a workshop every time. And you don't have to time them, but sort of, tap in, tune in, do the breath work. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can also just ask them to slow down. Like, let's slow down for a moment, or let's stop for a moment. I just want to feel your cock inside of me, or, whatever, however you're playing. So to just really direct it. And then you can also have a conversation with them. Hey, I love, we always talk about this positive reinforcement in the beginning, right? So I love playing with you. I love having sex with you. I love connecting with you intimately, and I'd love if we could explore ways to prolong it. And then of course their shit's going to come up. They're going to be like, oh my God, I'm not enough. And just let them know that you're just happy to play with them. And no matter what, you're happy to play with them, even if they don't last 20 hours. In fact, your orifice probably doesn't want to play for 20 hours anyways. And you feel like there's a lot in there that you can play with, and you want to know if you two can explore.
I always ask my partner to let me know when he's going to come. And I encourage it at no matter what length of time we've been going into our experience. I said, just tell me when you're going to come, because he was never used to that. And so now he does let me know.
With someone telling him?
Someone telling me like, hey, I'm going to come. I do the same thing, because I think that a lot of people, at least from when I was in my days of partner freeness, when I was being shangle, a lot of folks, men specifically that I was hooking up with, wouldn't let me know when they were going to come. But I think it's a turn on, but also you can kind of, maybe if they're like, I'm going to come, you can kind of gauge it, or ask them to tell you maybe faster if they feel it coming, tell you earlier on than they normally would, than right before. And then you could work with them in that way as well.
Yeah. And I think also saying I'm going to come is a form of sexy talk. You know, just it's very simple. You're just being very clear about what's happening. I'm going to come, but it's already like, ooh, that's hot. They just said the word come. And they're going, I'm doing that to them too. Ooh, exciting. Ooh. So, okay. So for this ejaculatory control practice, so we gave the example of perhaps it seems like it's hard to control your ejaculate, and just give an example of how you can be a supportive partner for someone who is going through that. Don't shame them. Don't tell them, you always do this, or don't roll over angrily. Like, talk to them about it. And as the person that has the penis, so what you can do is start masturbating slow and soft, instead of fast and hard. Or maybe if you don't even have a masturbation practice, start to have one, and start to have one where you touch yourself slow and soft, where you don't watch porn and you don't give yourself an orgasm in 3 minutes. You don't touch yourself that one way that you know will always bring you over the top. You drag it out and explore the sensations that are available to you, and purposely, maybe even set a timer that says that you can't come until 15 minutes. And you make this a regular thing, your body will learn to get off to slow and soft and to be able to last longer. It's because
15 minutes,
maybe 20. I don't know. Whatever.
That's a long time.
I know. April's like, I don't want 15 minutes. Damn.
Like, I got shit to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a practice of
You're talking about when you're masturbating.
It's for masturbating, not for sex. I'm talking about masturbating.
Still, that's a long time.
But if you do that on your own, as opposed to like, I'm going to wake myself really hard to this porn and get off in 3 minutes, of course you're going to come pretty quickly when you have sex.
I find myself searching for the right porn for about 10 minutes.
So that time does not count.
And then when I do find the right piece of porn, it lasts for about 35 seconds.
That's because you whip out your vibrator.
I know, which I'm on a strike still.
Yes, it's called the Nemesis.
It hasn't been going well, the strike.
You know what? You should design a vibrator called the Nemesis.
Ooh, we should.
We should. Okay,
let's not
coming
shit
out
each other
soon, everyone. Nemesis.
The Nemesis. Oh,
so I again, one of our listeners reminded me of this practice, and this is something I talk about in all my sex ed classes, and I don't know how I forgot this before, but this is the best way to learn new techniques, is to go and practice on our own, to retrain the brain to make this the default. I promise you that if you started to do this and you did this every day, instead of wanking yourself off really quickly, or not even trying this but having sex and coming really, really quickly, if you started to develop this practice, it will change something in your ejaculatory control. And the other piece is muscle structure, which we know, the
hot towel. I mean, the hot, wet towel on the dick.
Yeah, remind the listeners of that story. That's a good story.
I was in college dating this gentleman at the time. We were not serious. We actually never had sex. We maybe did a little, just the tip action.
JTT.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, long and short of it, he would do these dick exercises with a wet towel, and he was convinced that it would help him with his ejaculatory control. And at the time, I did not know about that, but he was very much right. And although we never slept together, he did bang it out with a few of my friends, and I think he lasted a long time in those experiences.
Because those muscles, those pelvic floor muscles, we always think of them as for women and for...
His mom was an OBGYN too.
Oh, so he knew what was
He
up.
knew all the things. He
Yeah.
was like in Venezuela, and he like slept with like 30 girls in Venezuela. And he came back, he's like, Mom, I slept with 30 girls, thinking that she'd be happy that he came clean to her. And she's like, what? You need to get tested. And he was like, really? So
Yeah, it's probably a good idea though.
yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah, he spread a high five from his mom.
Yeah, he was wanting to high five. He's like, I thought she'd respect me for just being totally open and honest with her. But no, she was scared for him.
She's like, you might have something. So if you want to learn more about pelvic floor health, we're not going to go too deep into it, but listen to episode 31. It goes we actually have a Dr. Sarah Tanza talking about pelvic floor health. This applies to all bodies, but your pelvic floor health has a lot to do with ejaculatory control as well. When you watch porn and you see them shooting their ejaculate across the room, that's because they have really strong muscles. And we're not really highly suggesting that because I don't know. Do you get off to see an ejaculate fly?
No, because I'm a clean freak. So if I had to clean that shit off my wall on a regular and I did or forgot about it, I'd be like, what?
What if they were
at their
coming and it like shot all the way up onto their own face? Would that be interesting to you? Would that be hot? Would you just laugh? You'd laugh.
I mean, I would definitely laugh. You know, I've never swallowed cum.
I know we talked about this in the last podcast.
Yeah, so I still haven't. So it's on my goal
list.
This
is the new goal that we're going to update people on, and when April finally swallows cum. If you all want,
and there's nothing against it. I just never have swallowed cum.
And you said it's because you're kind of a germaphobe.
I was a germaphobe, and and this is literally like I keep my toothbrush in my mouth too long, and I start gagging.
You don't have to put it all the way in the back of your throat.
The toothbrush?
You don't. Both the cock or the toothbrush. The cock, you could just, all the nerve endings are on the head of the cock. So you can just put your mouth on the head and then use your
It's just
your
a matter
hand.
of, for me, I felt like, I don't know, it just never has been a thing that I
mean, there's no shame, to each their own. If you're not into jacket, we talked about this in one of the last ones, but I really like that you just gave us a new thing. And I would like
my new objective for the month.
I would like to invite anyone to design like a special card for April or like a trophy for when she actually takes a load in her mouth.
Hey, my anal virginity is gone finally after 35 years on the planet.
I know. We talked about that last
Twice,
time.
two times.
It's
Chip, I'm becoming a regular.
She said more anal sex than I have.
You like anal?
Anal.
You want anal?
I love anal.
Yeah, me too.
But it takes a lot of time, so I don't always have time for it. This is not
Speaking
an
of time.
episode.
Speaking of time.
Yeah.
Ejaculatory control.
Okay, ejaculatory control. Well, that was kind of my key points there. That,
okay.
And as a partner, so sexual mastery.
So let's say you have a partner that doesn't listen to this podcast that you want to encourage to that in your opinion you're like, God, I wish that they could last a little longer when we do have our experience. What would be like the key points to talk with them about or to sit down besides having them listen to this podcast, which would be great, but some takeaways are...
So I think what we said before was sitting them down and not during sex because everyone's very vulnerable.
Outside of the bedroom.
Naked, outside the bedroom. Say something good that is authentic. So I love connecting with you. I love having sex with you.
I love your body on top of my body.
I love fucking you.
I love your caca.
I love your dick in my ass.
Wait, caca could be poo.
Caca.
I love your caca.
So yeah, so say something that is authentically good so that they're not automatically like, oh, fuck. And then use the word and, because if you use the word but, people are often like, uh-oh, what's next? And then say the critique after and not like, I'm so disappointed that... But you can use empowered language. I love connecting with you. And I'd love if we could extend our sexual play. It doesn't have to be with your cock hard the whole time or with you inside of me the whole time. And I'd love if we could just find ways to play in that window that made it so that we could extend our connection, our closeness for a longer period of time. And so that opens up the doors. And then you can discuss ways. Part of it could be, could we have sex for a slower period of time? Oh, here's something I learned that could help you to be able to have sex for a slower period of time. Or here's the other piece of it. As the partner, I personally think that the cock owner, it's more efficient for them to go practice on their own in a masturbation practice. To learn to get off to slow and soft and to go longer. And again, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to. I'm not saying that going longer is the norm or what you have to do. I've had sex plenty of times for only a matter of minutes that have been awesome.
I was into
but I had a
quickies
lot
for
of foreplay.
years. Yeah.
But there's a lot of foreplay.
Quickies were like my thing for years.
But you had a lot of other stuff, external vulva, nipple, making out all over the body. Like to me, that stuff's more important.
It's just a matter of what you want. If you're feeling as though you require more time with your partner.
Yeah.
These are the tools being provided.
Yeah, as a supportive partner, you can also, so this will bring me to the next piece of it then. This is a great segue. Erotic massage versus hand jobs. Hand jobs are all about getting from point A to point B. Point A is arousal, point B is orgasm. Or we'll use them as a something to get us to.
I love an HJ.
I just want to
say, I really do. They're not underrated.
HJs are awesome.
Yes.
And so this is why I think some people don't like HJs, because people try to rub the cock without lube. And of course, it's just friction. So some people are like, oh, just suck it or fuck it. You've heard that one before.
Yeah.
And I think that their experience has been, because, suck it or fuck it means you have a warm, wet mouth and a warm, wet pussy or ass or whatever. Well, the ass isn't wet. You have to add lube. But with HJs, if I were to take my dry hand and put it on someone's dry cock and then start rubbing it, of course it's not going to feel good.
No.
It's a mucous membrane on the cock, and so is the pussy.
That's why uncircumcised cocks are amazing.
Free lube.
Yep, free lube.
So
but
HJs are awesome, and they need lube. So get your Uber lube, everyone. Stock up on your Uber lube. Best lube ever. You can get it on Pure Pleasure's website using coupon code ShamelessSexPP in all caps.
And you can keep it on your bedside table because it literally looks like a fancy, cosmetic bottle of some kind.
And we're bringing back the hand job. And I know a lot of people love hand jobs. My partner the other day, though, this is what we did last night. It was really fun.
Ooh.
We did this thing last night where we had this deep conversation opening up about some vulnerability around sexuality. And we ended it by me saying, I'm just going to pleasure you, and I'm just going to pleasure you with your hands. And because he was like, I really love handies. Like,
he said,
I'm going to pleasure him.
You said I'm going to pleasure you and only with my hands.
Only with my hands.
Oh, got it.
So we both got naked. He laid. We have this huge, awesome beanbag that our friend gave us. So when you come over, you can just imagine my partner in there getting a handy.
Great. I'll be like, are there some snail tracks on there?
Snail trails. So what we did, though, is we did this exploration where I said, there's no pressure. We're not trying to get anywhere. And actually, the intention was for me to massage his cock for as long as
only your hands, no mouth.
Only my hands.
What about your titties?
With a lot of Uber lube. No, we were both naked, and we had this position where he was kind of lounged out, but like kind of propped up. And then I had one leg under him and one leg over him. So we were both comfortable. This is the other thing. When we're giving, blowjobs, hand jobs, all these things, make your body comfortable as the giver. Yeah.
It's true because I've had my knees buckling before in weird positions. The other day I did some Cirque du Soleil stuff on my couch.
Were you upside down?
Uh-huh.
Were you deep throating upside down?
I was deep throating, and then he was eating my pussy while my legs were in an acrobatically spread style.
Did you have your stripper heels on? You clacked them?
No, I was barefoot.
No.
But it was really cool.
That sounds pretty
And then
hot.
he told his friends when we were at dinner, he's like, yeah, then April got to Cirque du Soleil. I was like, I'm comfortable with that. The people know that about me.
Well, now the whole air knows, so you should be comfortable.
Damn it.
Nice try, privacy. Okay, so what we did, got a lot of lube, lit some candles. He was naked. I was naked. We had this deep conversation. So the deep conversation itself was foreplay. We crossed some beautiful barriers together and came into this point of connection by sharing our fears, or how can we, come into pleasure each other better? How can we show up for each other in better ways? And then, so what I did was I took the lube and I started just massaging his cock. And I just started trying started doing first was I started touching different parts of the cock. So I touched up and down the vein, so that where the urethra is, that vein on the undercarriage.
The main vein.
And I just asked him, how does this feel? And he's like, that feels really good. Lots of nerve endings there. Then I touch around the frenulum, just with the pads of my thumb. How does this feel? I already know. I know that these parts feel the best.
Right.
Really good. Then I just kind of press around the head of the cock because he's circumcised. How do these feel right here? Kind of rubbing that. And he's like, I don't really feel much. And then the front of the cock, how does this feel? I don't really feel very much. Swirling my finger around the head. And just every part of him, I would do some sort of technique or touch and just check in with him. And then once we found one that felt really good, I'd stay there for a little while and for like a minute or two, then I'd switch up to something else. And I did it all over the head, all over the shaft. And then I even went down the testicles, and I even went to the shaft, the part of the shaft that goes into the internal part of the body. And
did you any anal play?
No anal. But what we discovered in this, there was a couple ways that he liked to be touched that he didn't even know. Number 2, there was no goals, so he got to fully relax. And he was just the smile on his face while he was receiving. Like, I've never seen him so happy and receptive.
Was there the only conversation that was had was like if he liked
me just asking questions about the touch, and then just
so there's no sexy dirty talk?
No, not at all. It was just an exploration. And so that I would call an erotic massage. I wasn't wanking him. And actually, what I also did, I said, show me how you masturbate. And I've seen it many times before, but in this process, I wanted to see it again. So he started kind of wanking himself, and I was like, okay, I see that. Okay, none more of that. We're not wanking right now. And because it's, it's fast and hard.
My partner doesn't masturbate.
Ever?
No.
I mean,
he's like, do you see these calluses on my hand? Do you think that would feel good?
I'm like, I'll get you a
touche. What about do you need a masturbation glove?
Yeah, hot octopus?
He has one, but
he's not into it.
Yeah, he's not into toys.
He wants to play with pussy, and that's totally normal.
I'm
that's
the one
totally
that's into toys, and he's very accepting of my needs and the toys. But yeah, he doesn't masturbate, because I love like when my partners masturbate in front of me from time to time. I have no qualms with that. I think it's a-okay, but yeah, he's not into it.
So yeah, different.
But anyway,
folks.
Yeah,
literally.
Just thought I'd bring that up since maybe there's people out there that are in the same boat.
Yeah, well, my partner also doesn't masturbate much these days. He used to masturbate often before, and now he's not really doesn't have a regular practice. But if he did, that's what it would look like. Was kind of a faster, major focus on the head of the cock, and so I wasn't touching him that way. I was definitely focusing on the head of the cock, but rubbing the whole shaft. But I was going really slow and soft, and so after about 15 minutes, I don't know, maybe even 20 minutes, I'm not sure. Then eventually we decided that he was going to come, like together. He's like, can I come? And I was like, yes, we can. But you have to come to me touching you slow and soft. I'm not going to speed it up. And so, and that's what I did. I just kept touching him slow and soft, and it worked. He came. Yeah. So this is a great practice, again, for that ejaculatory control thing, or even if someone doesn't have an ejaculatory control issue, do this for your partner. It's fucking awesome. It feels so good. It felt so good for me to give that. And I learned so much, and there was no pressure on me. I was just there in service, and it felt good. So good for my partner to receive that. And this can go to vulvas too. This isn't just for penises, but I don't know. I had a great night last night, and I didn't receive anything. I just gave, and it was awesome.
Sometimes it's good to just be a giver.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Way to do your services.
I'm in service, everyone. Reporting for duty. Amy Baldwin.
Reporting for duty.
All right, so that's the end of Sexual Mastery Cocks. I'm sure we'll have another episode on this next time, or maybe soon we'll do Sexual Mastery Vulvas. But let's do some sex questions.
So... All right, so we are going to read a question from A, the subject line is shamed for low sex drive. And this is a really long one. I'm going to try to paraphrase because I want to do justice to the question. So just bear with me, and I think everyone will benefit from listening to this. Okay, he does not respect my body boundaries and will randomly put his hands in unwanted places. I'm reading a book on the couch, random hand down my shirt. I'm making breakfast, random hand down my pants. I cannot help but pull away at these moments because it's surprising and feels awful. And he responds with anger, assuming I'm repulsed by him. When I've explained multiple times, I feel like I am being molested by someone I should trust. Recently, he started complaining about my low sex drive and how I am lazy for not Googling what must be wrong with me. I have been to multiple healthcare professionals who have not been able to help and just recommend that I drink more wine to be in the mood. His comments are something that seriously hurts my confidence, as he shamed me for my body's natural ebb and flow of sexual desire, as well as how I take care of myself when I feel I am at peace with this. Okay, so recently, since completely going off hormonal birth control and the IUD, I feel like I now have about every other month where my sexual desire explodes, just to be replaced with that normal lack of sexual interest I feel. I attribute this to my menstrual cycle, but I'm not sure. So it's not like I have a sexless relationship. And the question is it time to let this toxic partner go despite the fact that the rest of the relationship is going well? How can you explain to someone that your emotional feelings for them are not represented by sex? Is this actually my fault and I am not being respectful to his needs? I would appreciate any feedback, ladies. Thank you so much.
Definitely not your fault.
No,
certainly
not at all.
No, you're not doing anything wrong. I would agree. I would probably say that most women who just had a hand go down their pants without a lot of other stuff, as we talked about in the beginning of this podcast, getting rid of the word foreplay, just the warm up, the connection, the touch that is everywhere but the genitals. They would say the same thing.
And also to A that wrote this in, you described the relationship as toxic. So that might be something that you want to look into. If you feel as though it is a toxic relationship and that there's nothing that you can do at this point, if your partner, he is not trying to work with you as well to help the relationship go into a better direction, perhaps it is time to move on. I'm not anti that decision.
Yeah, that's a big word to use. So, and maybe it wasn't feeling, maybe you're just saying it's only toxic in this department, but I don't know. Yeah, I would agree with April that if it feels like there's a lot of it that's really hurting you and creating a lot of shame, and this is the thing, you can just leave or you can have a conversation with them before. And then if it feels like it's a dead end, hey, I'm realizing that every time that I'm starting to feel like I'm broken. That's what you can say. You're not making me feel like I'm broken, but I'm starting to feel like that. When something comes up and you say X, Y, and Z, I feel this. I feel broken. I don't feel like I'm enough. I feel like there's something wrong with me. And that's really hurtful to me and not good for my being. So either I would like for us to consider to do something about it, or I might need to leave.
And coming from the I feel place is super important. Not blaming, always shifting it to your feelings, how you feel. Remember, no one can make you feel any way. You have 5 different people that hear the same 5 whatever pieces of information. They all will feel a different way about those pieces of information or comments. So I say have the conversation. And it looks like that you had written in the earlier part of the email that you're only 23 and there's time and space. Work on yourself. Do what you feel is happy, that puts you in a happy space, and come from that empowered place of you can find the best person for you out there ever. Just use your thought process and just know that you're an amazing, awesome human, and plant that in your brain.
And just know that it's 100% normal to want more than just a hand down your pants and to need more.
So there's no shaming for your low sex drive, as you said. Your sex drive will shift. I had a super low sex drive for a long period of my life where I thought something was wrong with me. And I was also on hormonal birth control for a lot of those years. And I know now, being off of all birth control, that I have a high sex drive. So now that you're off those things, maybe it'll take time to shift, but you'll find your sex drive coming back again. And perhaps it's the person that you're with. Yeah. Sometimes they can totally put out the flame that's burning deep inside of you.
Well, why would you have a high sex drive if someone is shaming you and is just sticking their hands down your pants and not regarding your whole, considering your whole body and your whole being and all your sensuality and giving you all the warm up? I mean, if you have a pussy and they just stick their hands down your pants because they're ready to go, your pussy takes at least approximately 4 times as long to get aroused. It is not ready for a hand to just go in it. It's just not. So that's not yours.
And I thank you for sharing this, because I can see there's some trauma that you've experienced probably earlier on in your life with another relationship, as you mentioned. And I think that to break the patterns, do what makes you happy. Because I think when you find your happiness, knowing that no one else can bring that to you aside from yourself, that is when you will have real breakthroughs and find the people that honor and cherish and treat you like a queen. And you deserve that. So thank you for sharing, though.
Woo! That's really good. I'm glad that was an epic question.
That was an epic question for sure.
That's an important question.
It is. And
by the way, OMGS. Go have your partner watch OMGS.
Right.
OMGS.com.
And P.S. if they're not willing to do the work, that's when you should, but like, no, I'm not going to ask some questions. Why won't you do that work?
Yeah. Is it a dead end? Because don't stick around for a dead end.
No,
you're young. You have your whole life ahead of you.
And Amy and I are positive people, but I will tell you, there's some times where you have to draw a line and create your boundaries. And if someone's not going to do the work and you're going to do the work, it might not work out.
Yeah.
There's other people, 7.6 billion people, and the population
is growing.
Counter is ticking as we speak right now. So remember that you can find another person that suits your needs and creates a happy space and a happy life with you. So yeah. Do
you have one more? Let's do one more.
Yeah, let's do one more. Yep. So, all right. This one is from, we'll call them Queen P. That's what they call themselves. I like that. Okay. Communication 911. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years now. We have little tiny bickering fights that blow up so easily. Either one of us usually overreacts and causes the other to shut down. It's so frustrating. I dream of the days we can go through our fights, learning something new and using better communication practices. I'm trying my best to find new techniques that might help our situation. I can put out things that seem triggering to him because I am actively doing research to better our communication practices, but I feel like I can't point it out without seeming like a know-it-all. Especially because he uses the blame game and constantly claims that he's always wrong and I'm always right. I don't care about who's right or wrong. I just want to be able to have a healthy fight instead of these pointless, destructive ones. What can I do or say to help our communication? Love and light, Queen P.
Queen P. Okay, first of all, the comment about I don't want to be a know-it-all to me is the story that women have of we can't be too much, we can't be too smart. Right. You know, there's that. Yeah, it's like it's tricky territory.
Look up Gloria Allred and tell me about too much. Yeah. That person is amazing. Woman, she's so pioneering things, and people have always told her she's too much because she's been pioneering women's rights and civil rights since the 1970s, and she's a badass.
And the reason why you probably feel that way is because your partner's shaming. So it makes you feel. It doesn't make you. It inspires a feeling of being too much. Like you are know-it-all, and you're always right and they're always wrong, and now they're going into a victim story about always being wrong. But I'm wondering if. So this is what I would suggest. Look at when things start to go downhill. Sit down with your partner and together paint a picture of the steps. When does everything go to shit? Like we're having a conversation, we're having an argument, but it turns into a big old blowout. At what point? Who escalates it by saying what? And how do they say it? And what is the other person looking for? Really dissect that and then discuss some ways that you can show up in different ways. What would work better for you? What would work better for the other person? How can you bring more empowered language into the conversations? If someone is feeling super heated, how can you press pause and take a break and go be alone for 5 minutes and take some deep breaths and then come back? Because if you just get all heated and you go down the downward spiral, it's scary down there and you get stuck.
I agree 100% for sure. I have a partner that I think has a PhD in debate because let me just tell you, he's pretty damn good.
Me too.
He's an epic debater and he's very good with his words. And I tend to have the same sort of Queen P, the same. I don't know. I don't think I'm a know-it-all. I know I don't know everything. And I tend to call in and love knowing when I am wrong. Like, okay, tell me I'm wrong. But remember, two people have two different perspectives about one situation. One situation can happen. You can interview a group of 12 people and every single person will have a different account of what happened. So with your partner, the best thing to do is listen, understand, try to figure out how to mitigate the situation by finding a common ground. Create that win-win. If you're constantly fighting about the same thing or arguing about the same topic, do your best to find a solution where you're not having to necessarily compromise, but where both of you feel like you're not sacrificing anything, where you're coming to terms or an agreement that feels good to both of you. And maybe it doesn't feel, that's exactly what I wanted, but it feels good enough where you feel like you can move into a good space. Name calling or shaming someone is never the proper way to go. And give each other space to speak freely, where you're doing 80% listening, 20% speaking. Because if one of you is always doing the talking and you just get exhausted, you're like, I just want this to be over with, that's not going to create a solution for you. And
I love that advice.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to move on. I was guilty of that for years. I swept shit under the rug so much because I just didn't want conflict.
Well, I also love what you just said about looking at how much you listen versus talk. Yeah. The 80-20 of most people are doing 20-80, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen and remind your partner if you're in an agreement or an argument with them. Be like, hey, I'm going to listen 80% of the time and I'm going to talk 20. And please, can you respect me and do the same? I do that with my partner. And then when I feel like he's been overstepping his 80, I'm like, hey, 80-20, is it my turn? And I do it with serious, no contempt. I do it with a serious, love, full heart, because I do want to come to a solution. And it's not easy. I get pissed. I'll be angry, but I'll be like, okay.
Just keep it under wraps, deep breaths. Yeah.
Deep breaths. I get into my zone. I also don't get in my head where I'm like, fuck that. Oh my God, fuck that. I'm level 3 listening. I'm looking at him. I'm feeling his words. I'm listening and asking for not permission when I can talk, but feeling the breaks and then letting him know when, okay, I feel as though it's my time to speak.
Yeah, I agree with that. I recently got in an argument, and in the argument, I actually went in there with the intention of giving the other person the floor and letting them do their thing. And I also know that they're good at taking the floor. So I let them take the floor and felt all my stuff. And I did chime in at one point, just said one word or a 2-word thing, but I let them, and they talked for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just let them do their whole thing. And we heard all my internal stuff being like, oh, no, that's wrong. That's not right. This is how it really happened.
And get out of your head and get into the situation.
I just let them, I heard that stuff going on, but I just let them go through the whole thing. And then when it seemed like they were slowing down, then I shared, and I think that helps them to feel heard, even if you don't fucking agree.
Right. And you don't have to agree. Humans, just FYI, all you human listeners.
No, I didn't agree with half the shit they said.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're all, that's what the beauty is about human beings. We all have different opinions. Yeah. We don't live in a society that is full of basically chaining us to believe something that we don't.
Well, we do live in a society that thinks we should do it that way, and a lot of people do, but we don't have to.
We have free speech and we have free will. And that's what is beautiful about being a human. So even if you don't agree with someone, you don't have to hate them. Love that they have a different view. Hear their view. You don't have to agree with them.
And just give them the floor for a little while and listen to your internal dialogue that wants to battle, and just let that happen. Let the internal dialogue just be internal. And then when they slow down, then you can join in and speak with empowered language at that point. And the other piece of that, is the stories that we create. I think by listening, it can help us to create less stories. By the time it's our turn to talk, it's just less charged. The other thing you can do too is set a timer. Hey, you get 5 minutes to rant. Then it's my turn, and I'm going to be silent for you. And
but
you're
do listen
for me.
When they are on their thing. I always try to also correct when I'm not in a heated space with my partner. I'm like, hey, it's really helpful if we play the game of no blame. So
don't say you made me do this. This is all your fault.
It's all about how you
this.
feel. Come from an I feel place.
Always or never.
I hate that shit.
I do it on accident often, and
it's my peeve. Yeah. And my partner does that to me sometimes when we're in a disagreement. He's like, "You always do this." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
Let's be clear. I'm not always doing.
I'm like, I am not always doing this. I'm not perpetually doing anything all the time. So thank you, Queen P, for that question. I think we answered it, and I hope that all you folks out there, if you do have a burning question or comment or praise and love.
What do you always recommend? Is take the war out of your words? Is that what you would recommend?
I recommend taking the war out of our words, the art of non-defensive communication. It's an excellent guide to communicating. Also, and I've talked about a few books before, but I live by them and I breathe by them and I swear by them. But 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, amazing. And it is creating solutions. I studied law. I love negotiation. I love to debate, but also there's an art form to it, and there's a way to get your point across, and there's ways to create win-wins with all people, whether it's your children, if you have kids, whether it's your partner, whether it's friends, whether it's work, there are good solutions. So, and if you need more suggestions for books or tools, I have a plethora. So just write us and let us know, and I can send you links. And go to Amazon. On our website, you can go to Amazon through Shameless Sex and buy all of these books, and that actually helps Amy and I with our podcasting life.
Yeah, that does not support the podcast, but the money so what happens is when you buy something, we get a percentage of it. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and some of that money goes to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't support the podcast. It goes to us. We'll say that.
Yes.
So go to our link and you click on the little books in there in the homepage, and you order from Amazon through there, and you whatever you order through that link, you hook us up. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you. So
that's the end of Sexual Mastery. Cocks, penises, dicks.
Yeah, dick.
Sex questions.
And sex questions. We have so many awesome things happening in the next few weeks. We're going to bring you a lot of amazing information and more podcasts to come.
Ooh, and our next one, I think, is going to be on sexual trauma.
Sexual trauma.
Yeah, we have a trauma, I guess we'll call them an expert. They're a sex
specialist,
educator.
right.
Yeah, they work with a lot with sexual trauma, consent, negotiation, assault.
And remember to write us a review. We will read it on the air. Well, not all of them, but especially if you want me to do it in an accent, I will work on the accent. I'm sorry that, sometimes I'm not super amazing with it.
Pretty good, Chip.
Oh, thanks so much. So everyone, thank you for being a Shameless Sex listener. We absolutely adore each and every one of you. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. And yeah, and the bottom of my pussy too.
Whoa, the bottom.
I don't know. Is there
the upper? How about the bottom of her pussy and the upper part of my pussy?
Yeah, the hood of the pussy.
Wait, what?
The hood of the clit.
That's yours.
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
I feel like the bottom. Wait, okay.
All right.
Is the bottom the cervix?
So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your dad. Listen to Shameless Sex. And your cat. And we will see you next Tuesday. Ciao for now.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps at purepleasureshop.com.